where it potentially becomes a little bit more cost effective for you to go fly the jet is you flying it yourself. And you told me that you've started on your journey of learning to fly, and one day you'd love to fly the Vision Jet and then maybe the Phenom 300 at some stage. But you told me you also maybe had a little bit of an interesting experience on your second ever flight. So maybe talk us through your thought process on becoming a pilot, and then what the learning experience has been so far.
Yeah, I think look, I love aviation. I would love the freedom to be able to go and get in an airplane that's sitting in Athens whenever I want.
Yep.
So I was first interested in the way more approachable planes, the Pipers, the Bonanzas, in the $200,000 to $350,000 range. It's crazy because 5 years ago they were $150,000 planes.
Yeah.
But I hired a guy to help me try to find a Bonanza, and I started taking lessons. And I realized real quick that I have a shitload going on.
Yep.
And when I need to make a meeting, weather, it's just not feasible for me to worry about, VFR or flying around storms in an airplane that goes 190 miles an hour, or 240 if you're lucky in a Bonanza, depending on winds.
Yep.
So, but I was taking lessons, and I was in a 1964 Cessna 172. Yep. And first 3 lessons were amazing. I was into it. I was loving it. I studied it a lot. I was practicing talking to air traffic control, all these things. But one day there's a 15 knot crosswind, and the instructor doesn't tell me. It was gusts from 5 to 15, and we take off, and a gust hits, and the whole airplane slides to the side. I don't think it was a dangerous situation by any means, but it scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
We get up to 4,000 feet, and we're starting to do practice routines and working on stuff. And then he tells me a story that the other one in his fleet, the other plane, the throttle cable broke the day before, and they landed it. He's like, see that field down there? That's where they landed the other plane yesterday. And I'm like, hold on, what? He's like, yeah, the throttle cable broke, and they landed it right there, fixed the throttle cable, and he took off out of that field. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds great, but wasn't that plane flying at night home from, I watched Flight Radar. That plane was flying home at night yesterday, 2 days before that, from Hilton Head.
Yeah.
What happens if that happens at night? You're dead. You're dead. Okay, maybe you can land on a road and somebody else is dead. Maybe you're okay. Maybe you can find a field. And I just didn't, the pilot just had no, he wouldn't reconcile the fact that, hey, if that happens the flight earlier,
it would have been.
The pilot's dead. So I made the decision right then that it's either going to be a SR-22.
Yep.
Or I'm going to pay somebody else to do this. And over the course of that time, two of my businesses really started to grow a lot, and I started making a lot more money over those 4 or 5 months.
Yep.
And I decided to, do it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, certainly having someone fly you, for now is a great way to do it. And then as you get to a point where you've got
I had a lot going on. I just bought the company. I had, I'm still involved in these businesses, having a blast. I think there will be a point in my career, absolutely, when I'm not that busy. I'm not buying a, $52 million business and raising $20 million and, running a real estate private equity company and also growing a real estate services firm that's exploding, and I'm putting a lot of time there.
Yep.
There's going to be a point in time where, because entrepreneurship, it really comes in waves. There's years where you really bust it and work your butt off. And then there's years when things are slow, frankly, and you just got to sit back and wait, and time does its thing because you have a good business, you have good people, it's blocking and tackling. Now that time will come, and maybe my son will be interested in aviation, and maybe we'll buy a SR-22 and fly. And then it's a really easy trip from an SR-22 to a Vision. So